All right, everybody, it's Andreas Hale, Senior Combat Sports Writer of the Sporting News, and I'm here with Anthony Taylor, the man who's been spoiling dreams and calling out names, who's getting ready to fight once again on the Misfits boxing card. Seems like you got Paul Baba lined up. Is that the plan right now? Because I've heard you calling out
Yeah,
KSI.
man. The KSI is the goal to get those big $1 million fights. But right now, I got to get these mini goals and achieve those mini goals by knocking the mini goals out. So far, we got Paul Bamba. That's the first step. You know, After that, potentially we might have a Floyd Mayweather fight, or we could potentially say we might have a Tyron Woodley fight, or a Slim title fight, or Salt Poppy rematch. Those are fights that I'm definitely looking towards in the future after beating Paul Bamba.
Man, let's talk about the Saul Poppy fight. There was so much hype behind Saul Poppy, and people thought, oh man, Anthony Taylor, Saul Poppy. I don't know, man. Saul Poppy's the future. He could beat real boxers. You handled him. How good did that feel to silence people who thought that Salt Poppy was the man, and you pretty much manhandled this dude?
Oh man, it felt good. At the end of the day, Andres, I wasn't worried about what Salt Poppy can do. I was worried about what I was going to do and how I was going to execute my own moves inside that ring, because I don't think about what he's capable of doing. I think about what I'm capable of doing and what I'm going to do during the game plan. I knew he wasn't out training me. I knew he wasn't outworking me. I knew he was going to outsmart me. And I had to silence the doubters. Everybody wrote me off. I think it was like 90% of people thought I was going to lose by knockout. And it's like, y'all must don't know who I am.
When you're in there with him, everybody talked about his power and how good he was. How quickly did you realize, oh man, he's not as good as people made him out to be?
Once I felt the straight left, it was no power. I felt no threat. He wasn't a threat to me, but also I wanted to play it safe and do what was best to my ability and crowding the spaces, making it uncomfortable for him. Because you never know. Yeah, I might not feel the punch, but if you get hit right on the button, you're out. And
Right.
that's it. So I had to have my own game plan, my own strategy, and I followed it. I pretty much did the opposite of what Josh Bruckner did when he fought him, trying to be the aggressor when he's a counter puncher, which he's longer. No, I can't try to be the aggressor when he's such a long fighter. So I had to make him become the aggressor and try to look for the knockout, which worked in my benefit.
Let's talk about your progression through this boxing career that you had. Like you started off and you had a couple tough fights, but it feels like you were finally starting to figure this thing out. Like how much have you grown since your first fight of the Tommy Fury fight, for instance? How much better have you become?
Oh man, it's a great question because I'm so much better than what I was. When I fought Tommy Fury, it was like on a 3 weeks notice. I didn't really know boxing. I was just literally coming off just MMA only. I started learning how to box after that. And from there on, I started developing a style and I started understanding who I was as a boxer, you know, understanding what I want to do when it comes to boxing. And I understood that there's journeys, there's going to be levels to this journey. And I just knew that as long as I put in the work and I commit 110%, I'm going to get better regardless.
I mean, coming from MMA, we've heard all these MMA fighters who want to play in boxing, and a lot of them aren't successful. You're actually doing it. How difficult is that transition, though? That I think some people don't really understand how difficult it is to go from MMA to boxing.
Man, I was put in a I was put in a good place because I was so entertaining at that and very fun to be around. People, I just gravitated to a lot of people and I just connected with a lot of people in the fight game. And I told people here's how you definitely become a bona fide star in the fight game. You know, Build a personality. You want to be the heel or the bad guy. Number two, make content and film it. Number three, get to know all the promoters on different shows. You never know what promoter on a small show might become a big shot on a big show. So I started doing that. I started getting myself familiar with a lot of these promotions, building relationships. Bam, I built a relationship with guys in Dubai, in in London, and Ireland. So getting into the space as an MMA fighter, it's it's different because you're not doing MMA no more. You're so used to grabbing and clinching. No, this is a whole new field. So now that I'm getting into the boxing scene, I'm having to. I'm now opening the door as the Moses of crossover boxing for all these MMA fighters who want to go into boxing. I'm like the Moses. I'm showing them the blueprint how to do it.
Speaking of entertaining, you know I gotta ask you, right?
Yeah.
What possessed you to sing Jodeci at that face off, bro?
Man, hey, I was just in the moment. I didn't know it was going to be a big viral thing. I didn't realize it was going to be that big till I saw it on the Shade Room and every news outlet. I was like, oh crap, this stuff, like the littlest things that you think that might not be it actually becomes it.
I mean, it's Jodeci. Listen, man, I'm a 90s baby, man. I love me some Jodeci. I ain't never seen it at a stare down before. Like, how did that song pop into your head?
Man, I was like, I was in the zone. I was like, every time I close my eyes, I was just in the zone, bro. Man, because I wasn't gonna sing "I Cry for You." I wasn't going to sing that, but every freaking day and every freaking night, Jodeci was literally coming to my mind because I'm like, man, there's a lot of hot women out there in the crowd. They're smoking hot. They love me because I'm American. I'm African American at that. And they're like, yo, this guy got his shirt on. I was in the zone, man.
How many women slid up in your DMs after that?
At least over 100. Ready to go. Ready to go. Like, yo, I am DTF down to. I was like, sorry, ladies, I got to fight.
But see, man, listen, I say this all the time. Everything is pro wrestling, right? Like the way you entertain people is the way that you really truly get yourself over. And I think you kind of figured that part out. Now the boxing side comes and you showing yourself pretty well. You got Paul Bamba coming up. It's a fight that people are interested in. What does Bamba possess that makes this fight intriguing? Because it seems like you might be the man that has to carry this promotion entirely.
Well, Paul Bamba possesses a body in the ring. I'm not worried about Paul Bamba whatsoever. Like I did the same thing with Saul Papi. I'm worried about my abilities and what I'm going to do to execute my moves in those rings. He's a talker, we know. He can talk the talk, but can he back the walk? The back the talk, whatever we call it, because he hasn't shown nothing that we ain't seen. Like I fought guys who are taller than you, as tall as you. I fought a lefty. I fought a guy who has power. I fought a guy who has volume. I fought a guy who's just a lot heavier than you. I fought a smaller class or weight class. I've seen everything that Paul Bama has to bring, especially in that fight. I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. I'm excited to go in there and showcase the fans, including you and everybody around the world, that, hey, Anthony is a force to reckon with.
Now I've seen you. You mentioned KSI. You mentioned maybe a fight with Jake Paul or a rematch with Tommy Fury. A win against Paul Bamba gets you where? Where's the next fight step that you want to go in your career?
I think it potentially can get me a Paul Bamba fight. Can potentially get me 3 fights because I got to be realistic. I'm not going to just go off and you just jump off and get KSI and beat him. Now the whole thing is over. Either going to be Floyd Mayweather, Joe Fournier, or Tyron Woodley, or Slim. Those or Salt Papi. Those 5 will be probably one of the right ones next coming up.
You've been calling out Floyd Mayweather for a minute. You think he's listening to you?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He's taking a notice. He's doing the exhibition scene. If you're doing the exhibition scene, you're going to understand who's the top guys in the exhibition scene. And you got that loudmouth pretty boy who calls himself the pretty boy, Anthony Taylor. He's winning his fights. He's calling him out every single interview. You can't do nothing but take notice of that. I'm the most entertaining guy on Misfits, besides KSI, because it's his show. I'm doing more than all these influencers. I'm going above and beyond on my walkouts, my post interview. Everything I do turns into gold.
I mean, yeah, like it has. And when you first started this, like you said, you fought Tommy Fury on 3 weeks' notice. Now you're here and you're a mainstay. Like, how much do you think you have personally helped the Misfits brand grow as a whole? Because you are bringing the source of entertainment that other fighters aren't bringing to the sport in general.
Oh man, that's a great question. No one's asked me that before. I think I'm bringing a lot of value. I think I do. I think I bring a lot of appreciation to the sport of influencing boxing where I'm not people's look is not looking at me saying, "Oh, Anthony doesn't take this serious. He takes this as a joke." No, they see me on Misfits having fun, busting jokes with the owners, antagonizing KSI, but in a respectful way, and making jokes with all the other fighters. I'm showing it's a fun environment to be at Misfits.
One of my last questions. I mean, Jake Paul's getting ready to fight Nate Diaz. How do you think that fight ends up going?
Man, I got Jake by a decision. It's going to be Jake by decision. Nate's never been knocked out before. That's the thing. You can say he's got knocked out by Josh Thompson, but that was a flurry of punches and kicks all included, and that's him standing up with a referee TKO where he's just not flatlined. But Jake has a tough opponent on his hand, but I got Jake by decision.
How bad would you want a Jake Paul fight?
I mean, woo, like that. You're the first person to ask me that. Look, man, if Nikisa and Jake was like, "Hey, let's sit down. I think, man, you can pull numbers and it'll be a good fight," I'm down for it, brother. I'm down. Because at the end of the day, it's nothing but love and respect for two athletes combating in that ring.
Well, last question.
Yeah.
What are you gonna sing at the next stare down? What's the next what can we look forward to?
Every time I close my eyes,
oh, we bet no person.
Feeling so lonely.
Oh, we bet a person.
I can't get you out of my mind. Cause Idris is all I need.
Go.
I will fight you any day.
And that's tomorrow.
Best believe I'm gonna come out with the victory.
Yo.
I'm about to take you down.
No, you ain't.
Probably Cisco.
Cisco? Not Drew Hill, Cisco. Unleash the Dragon?
Cisco. Yes.
Thong song?
Possibly. Dong. That dong.
People just gotta wait and see what you do.
Gotta wait and see.
Oh,
I sing
man.
Pretty Brown Eyes. Pretty brown eyes. You know I see you.
This man is the most entertaining man in the sport today. Anthony Taylor. Brother, I appreciate your time. Good luck. Can't wait to see you at Misfits again. And whatever the future holds here, just know that everybody is tuned in. Thank you so much, my man.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for having me on, my man. We'll do it again soon.
All right, later.